Hi, welcome to Susie's Crochet Chat, where we discuss all the exciting things about crochet, yarn, hooks, tips and tricks, and everything in between. Thank you for joining me for this second episode. So my name is Susie, and this channel is kind of dedicated to beginner crocheters. I have been crocheting for quite a while, consistently for over 10 years, but I learned as a child. And so I am going to go over things and really help out that beginner crocheter. So this episode, I was going through a lot of my older things and what had started me crocheting. So I was looking at my hooks. And when I started, now my grandmother had taught me to crochet. And that was in the 70s when I was probably 8 or 9. I think I was 8 or 9. And at that time, I just did like a chain stitch, maybe a single crochet. And I didn't really remember a lot. We didn't live near my grandmother. We lived maybe 8 hours away. We visited in the summertime. We visited her, and she would make, at that time, the it wasn't the ripple, but it was those well, like a ripple granny, or not granny, but the Afghans, the chevron, that's the word, chevron granny, or granny, I think granny squares are just in my head. Afghans were a big thing at that time, the gold. So she was making everybody one of those. Like my mother got one, and my aunt and uncle, my one sister got one, I think, because she was already married. Us kids didn't get one, but the adults did as a family. And she had shown us kids kind of a little bit how to do it. But then when we got home, my mother didn't crochet, so if I was stuck, I didn't have no one to ask. So I didn't do anything with that. Years later, I wanted to crochet, and trying to think here. Oh, this was in my mid to late 20s. So at that point, I bought some books, and the only thing I really did was like single crochet, double crochet. I think I learned a treble crochet. And this was in the 80s, and I made little little things to like stuff with potpourri. And it wasn't even a pattern because I couldn't figure out how to make a blanket or anything. I had a hard time really reading the patterns. And so that, like little sachets, that was the only thing I could figure out kind of how to do, and it wasn't even right. And that's the only thing I did at that time. But I saved my books, and I have my books. These were the two books that, and I know they're probably backwards because I'm using my cell phone, and that's the only thing I have to record. But these were what I had. These are the two books that I used to learn how to crochet. Especially this one was my favorite. So I had these forever and I kept them. Then early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s, somewhere in there. I'm going to say early 2000s. A friend of mine came to visit me, and I hadn't seen her since junior high school, because I had moved, and she crocheted, and I was like, oh my goodness. And she was making Afghans, and I thought, oh, I want to make an Afghan. So I grabbed out my books, and at that time still the internet was new. The books. So, and I should have brought this in here and I didn't. Maybe in the next video I'll show you. But I wanted to create this book, or this Afghan. So I went to the page, tried to understand it the best I could. I don't even think I did it right. Like, I think now if I went to this and looked, I would get it right. But I do like the Afghan I created. I have it on in the other bedroom. I have it on at the bottom of the bed. It turned out cute. But, it took me a long while to do. Then I made one in a different color for my daughter, and that took me a long time to do. I made one for my one sister. It was variegated colors because she liked the jewel tones at the time. That took me a while. Then I didn't do anything. I was done. So, trying to think. Oh, then I got remarried. After all that, and I got remarried. And probably, maybe it's been 12 years. Probably 2012, 11, 12, somewhere in there. Right after I got married, I thought, I'm going to crochet again. And I went to AC Moore. Now AC Moore is not here anymore. Hey, I'm rhyming here. But anyway, I went to AC Moore to get the yarn. Picked out all the yarn because I was thinking about the chevron that my grandmother had made, but I would make them in different colors. And that was the first thing. I had said in my previous introduction video that it was the prayer shawl, but that's not true. Now that I think of it, it really was a chevron blanket that I was going to start. Well, I did. I started a chevron. That's a lot of counting. I don't like to count. For a beginner, a lot of that counting stuff, I like, you can't watch TV. You can't do anything. You have to count. You have to be very quiet. You have to sit there and know what you're doing. And that was just way too much. But I'm going to show you what I was working on. And yes, it's one of those non-finished things. So you could call it a UFO, unfinished project, object, whatever. Here it is. This was my, finish, getting back into crochet. This was it. I don't even have this yarn anymore. I used it for other projects, so I couldn't finish it if I wanted to. Even the whites wouldn't match. I could maybe do something else, but I'm okay with it. I kind of thought maybe what I could do, I didn't even sew in ends. I could sew in the ends. I could maybe put it at the bottom of the bed, which I might do on I have a single bed, and I might just use it as a bed runner. I might do that. But this was getting me back to crochet. Then came the church, and I went through that in the other video about the prayer shawls and all that. But this is what really then had got me started. And I joined at that time then the beginners crochet group on Facebook. That's kind of where this all went. So back at that time when I was starting and I had these books, I had hooks. These were my hooks that I had. They're called Wrights. I've never even heard of Wright hooks. Wrights. Never heard of them. And I knew nothing. Like, now I know so much about hooks and yarns and all this stuff. The only thing I ever knew was worsted weight, and I didn't know what the heck that meant, but my grandmother, worsted weight yarn. That's all I ever heard. I didn't know anything about anything else. Worsted weight. That was it. Red hearts. That's all I knew, because that's what she used. So, and I don't even know what hooks she used. Never even gave that a thought. But I know I bought these probably at Walmart, I do believe. At that time, I think it was Walmart, because I think that's where I was going. They had a lot of yarn there at that time. Because I don't think I went to... Unless I went to Joann's, but I really think it was Walmart. But anyway, these were the hooks I had. And I had them for the longest time, and as you see, one's missing. I don't even know. I think it was a red one, and it was the 6.5 millimeter. But that's what I used. So after that, my husband had bought me hooks. And as I was getting better, you're getting into it. I wouldn't say better. I would say getting into it. So he bought me hooks. And I never knew what hooks these were until today. I guess I did, but I never thought about it. Like, I never thought, oh yes, it's this hook or whatever. And I was just looking at it. And these are boy hooks. So these are the boy hooks. And I thought, oh, okay. Because I thought, oh, you got me the cheapy hooks. But these are good hooks. These are good hooks. So I got the whole set. And I used these a lot. I used them all the time. And I used these for quite some time. And until in the Crochet Beginners group, and I love that group, and I keep referring to it because the members are so great. The one member, people were just talking and started saying about Clover Amour hooks, and that there was a sale on Amazon. And they were buying the hooks. So I got the bigger pack that had a bunch of them. And they were on sale. Excuse me. So I put all my hooks in a little yarn ball cup. So I got a whole bunch of the Clover hooks. So I have all different ones. Now the real big ones, they didn't come in that, and I bought those separate. But now these are like my favorite hooks, which is the Clover hooks. And that's what I usually use, is Clover. I also, because of watching different YouTube videos, I ordered some of the more fancy hooks, expensive hooks. Now there's a lot more expensive than what I got, but Furls hooks. So I have a couple Furls hooks. I have the wooden streamline a J hook, which is a, if I could read it, what is that, a 6? J, I think it's, I don't know. What's a J? And I have their, the other streamline that's more acrylic in a 7, which is a J hook. These are really, I find them a little, a lot of people love using these ones. I find it a little harder to use, but I find that I have to go slower when I'm using these, and I find that my stitches look much better. If that sounds weird, but it's very true. I also, from Furls, have bought, and you can't get these anymore, and I'm kind of sad about that. It was called Odyssey hooks, and they were metal. And this one is an H hook, which is I think it's a 5 point, which one is the H? Yeah, 5 millimeter. And I had problems with it, but I like using it because, like I said, it makes you, for me, I have to go slower, but the stitches just look prettier. And then I have the 5.5, which is a I. In the Odyssey. And I will show you Cinnamon Stitches. She did this tutorial for a bag, and I used the Streamline, the 5.5, this one here, this hook. And I really feel like I had to take my time to make this, but I feel like if I used my other hook, these stitches just wouldn't have looked as pretty. I don't know why I feel that way. I really do. And I almost feel like I might have to make it with those hooks, with another hook, just to prove myself, my point. But we'll see. So those are the hooks I have and what I use. I have some other hooks that my mother-in-law had given me. I think they were from her mother or her mother-in-law. She doesn't crochet, but she had them, and I've never used them. They're just hooks, but you know, I'm not going to throw out any crochet hooks, but I don't even know. They don't even have numbers or letters, nothing on them. So I don't really know anything of these, but I'm keeping them because you never know. So that's what I have about the hooks and the books. Books are the explaining in the books of how to crochet. I understood that. It was reading a pattern, how they would have the asterisks and the stars and when to start and stop for the brackets, the parentheses, and you know, okay, you're going to do this, repeat this from here to here. That's the part where I would get confused. That's where I thought it was very confusing. And to me, a YouTube tutorial is much better to watch than to try to figure it out in a pattern. But now I'd like to challenge myself, which I have, to go to an actual pattern and be able to read it and do from a pattern. And there are plenty of wonderful YouTubers and creators from YouTube or just the community that I watch their or use their patterns, such as Krista from the Secret Yarnery. She has wonderful patterns, and as she always says, she writes them as if she's reading it right to you, and that's very true. Her patterns are like that, and I have lots of them. Mikey from the Crochet Crowd, I have, it's right behind me. I'm doing the one crochet blanket that this was, I think, well, it's coming up on 2 years ago that he did, that is this blanket. It's called Snow Days with Hot Chocolate Crochet Blanket. And I'm taking a break on it because it's springtime and I don't feel like doing those colors right now. But I've been working on that a little bit. And he does graphs and things like that. I'm not into the graph part, or the, I'm not, or the I don't know, I guess it's graphs or whatever he uses, but I can understand what he's saying, but he also has a tutorial with it. So, and so does Krista from the Secret Yarnery. So I like the fact that if I get stuck, I can always go to the tutorial to figure it out. Fiber Spiders, another one. There's so many great YouTubers out there. And even in the beginners crochet group, Alexandra Crawford, who is the person who started the beginners crochet group, she is on YouTube. Lexi Loves Stitching. She has tutorials, and I've made several of her market bags that she had. And what's great about her is she's from the UK, so she also does like UK and US terms. And that's different. And a beginner might not know that. They might be looking for something, and the terminology will be different. If you're in the US and you're following someone in the UK, well, if they're telling you to do a double crochet, guess what? That's a single crochet to them. Yeah. I did a crochet along for, it was the coronation blanket for King Charles's coronation. And it was all in UK terms. So not only, I couldn't get the yarn, so I had to kind of figure out the colors and get stuff to kind of go with what the thing was, the colors. I had to rewrite the pattern because it was all in UK terms. And I'm trying to read a pattern plus follow the tutorial. It took me forever to do. I did it. And I actually have it in here on this bed in this room. And I'm just going to spin you around. Don't get sick. And I'm going to kind of, but, let me kind of pop you up a bit. There it is. But I did it. Sorry about that. Sorry. But I did it. So, just to show you that you can do these things, but that also there's things you need to know as a beginner that, I didn't even think of that. I never thought that the terminology might be different. So I just really hope that you'll find this helpful. And, you know, that's what I would like to do, is just be helpful. So I really hope you like this video, and continue to join me on my next crochet adventure of, I'm not sure what we'll talk about, but it's going to be something good. So have a great day. I will talk to you soon. Bye for now.